Hang tight, guys. Just making sure the settings are all good. It's the first time I've done this for like a face-to-face conversation. Let's see here. Mm-mm-mm. And hey, guys, as you're jumping in, just say hey in the chat because I am not seeing like metrics right now, so I'm just trying to get an idea of how many of you guys are in here before we get started. Like I said, this is the hurdles of doing this stuff for the first time. So said normally for me it's just game game streaming, which is easy because that's just all run through a different thing. Hello, True Liberty. What's going on? So I'm also kind of hoping that the sound does not bleed up from downstairs because my son is listening or watching Netflix at an extremely high volume that I can hear all the way up here. So I'm hoping that that does not come through for you guys as well. Good. Well, that's a good thing. So, all right. So, like I said, as you guys are rolling in, don't forget to say hey down in the chats because I figured this would be as good as an excuse as any to just kind of try the live streaming out and just get that get the kinks out on a really innocuous topic because I didn't want to make a whole video about the Blue Alpinist just because I don't know how much there really is to say about it. Um, but it was a pretty exciting beginning of the day for me for that today. So with that one, what did they post it around like 11:30? And for those who didn't hear, Seiko is releasing a blue version of the Seiko Alpinist, which is one of the most popular watches amongst enthusiasts, especially now that it's been discontinued. Of course, the most recent version of the Alpinist, the SARB 017, was the green sunburst dial with the gold numerals that you either really kind of love or hate. Honestly, I've never seen anyone just kind of middle of the road with that dial. Um, Everyone has an opinion on it. I tend to kind of skew towards the like I find it charming, but at the same time, it's really not me. And I even talked about that in a previous video. How there was a time where I like kind of sought after it because it was it's a well talked about watch. This is early, in collecting. And then I just when I had the opportunity to pull the trigger on it, I did not. And but now like I said, it's a blue version. It's got like a lighter blue dial, almost like a cobalt, silver numerals. It's coming on a leather strap. It's only being released through Hodinky. And so was around, popped up. I was talking to my friend Ricardo about it because he posted about it on Instagram. I saw it. I posted about it on Instagram, and I came this close to buying one. And not even because I really, not because I really wanted that bad. I mean, I do like I did want to check it out, and it would be cool for the channel and everything like that. I was kind of just hoping to get it and enjoy it for a while and then flip it, either for what I paid for it or maybe a little bit more, especially since it's a limited edition. I would imagine it's going to sell out pretty fast. I ended up sitting on it. Me and my wife went out for the afternoon today once the kid was in school, and messed around Fells Point a little bit. And then when I got back, it was already waitlisted. So they made the decision for me. But yeah, I thought it was it's cool because I know it's something that folks had been pining for. Mark says blue is a good choice, but it looks pretty blah, lifeless dial and brushed metal for too much money. So the money thing is interesting because that was the one thing that I was like, man, I really want this. I don't want to pay $600 for it. Um, and it's weird because I think if I'm not mistaken, and you guys can absolutely correct me if I'm wrong, I think the MSRP on the SARB 17 was like 650. So like if you bought it at full like Seiko price from a Seiko AD, it was like $650. It's just the thing is nobody bought it that route. Everyone went gray market for that watch, and if you buy a Seiko in the US, you're buying a gray market. Um, Chances are, and so everyone kind of has the price of an Alpinist kind of fixed at, or it was fixed at like between $350 and $400 here in the States. So if you actually compare the two, 600 is I don't think is too much when you're looking at MSRP, but it certainly seems like a lot when comparing it to what most folks paid for the green Alpinist. So I can understand that. And again, for something like this, I would imagine that being as it is limited, I think they're making less than 2,000 of them. It is gonna probably hold its value, if not gain a little bit of value over time. Because I mean, as soon as they discontinued the 17, the values for that crept up as well. I mean, they didn't shoot up to ridiculous amounts, but they definitely increased for sure. So that's what I was thinking about. I was thinking about it just from that specific standpoint, and buying it maybe as an investment piece. Um, but I ultimately decided, like I said, I waited too long. I'm kind of glad I did. Like I said, if I really wanted, I would have bought it right away. But I just bought a couple watches. So I wasn't, my wife was giving me the stink eye while I was talking about it because she, like I said, because I have the SkyQuest that I just got and the NTH that I bought earlier this year. And then I just bought the Lunar Pilot that you guys saw last week. So, yeah, she was giving me the old stink eye for, even considering buying another watch right now. So yeah, all for the best. Hey guys in the chat, Robert ordered one. Yeah, I like I said, I came very close. Came very, very close. I have a feeling I'm gonna kick myself for not doing it down the road. Hey Blizzard, Detroit in the house. What's going on, guys? And again, guys, not just talking about the Alpinist today. If you guys have any questions for me, if you want to talk about other stuff, we're gonna be on for a little bit. I have a podcast that I'm recording later tonight, like around, like I have to get off at 6:45 at the latest to kind of set up for that. Um, but yeah, but yeah, whatever you guys want to talk about, we can certainly talk about it. I heard Sushi says didn't like the dial that much. I really did though. It's the blue that was on the dial reminded me very much of in the Basel video that I did last year. Oris released the new line of Big Crown pointer dates, and they had a blue one that was just that very pale blue that came out that I thought was awesome. And the blue kind of reminded me of that. So I actually quite like the color of the dial. I think the numerals popped well with the color. It definitely looks a little flat compared to the regular Alpinist, that's for sure. I mean, the standard Alpinist, or the standard Alpinist, the 17 definitely is an eye catcher for sure. With the green and gold, and also the sunburst dial too. I mean, this one was a matte dial. But I dug the blue. I really liked it. And again, it seems to be the commentary that I've heard online seems to be as divisive for this watch as it was for the 17 as well. And I have a feeling that series is just going to be that way. Blue says, love your reviews. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. I Heart Sushi discovered the channel a few days ago. Thanks for subscribing, man. I really appreciate it. If you guys have seen, once we got to 1,000, the numbers have been ticking up pretty consistently thanks to YouTube's insane algorithm. So that's been pretty cool watching that kind of grow up. Robert, what do you think about the SBDC 071 Pepsi Patty? If it's the one that I'm thinking about, um, let me pull it up real quick just to make sure that it is the one that I think you're talking about, just to make sure. Um, so this is not the one that I like of the Patty series. I don't know the reference number, but they came out with one that has the Pepsi. It has the Pepsi bezel, and it also has like this waffle print blue dial as well. That's the one that I think, and that might only be a Seiko Samurai too as well. I don't know if that one is actually Patty rated. Um it's so that's the one I think I prefer more. To me, I don't know, for some reason, anytime I see like a Pepsi bezel with like a black face, I just immediately think of just like Rolex GMT. Like like that's what my mind goes to immediately. And so for some reason, I just that style is not specifically, yeah, that's like you confirm for me, that's the Samurai that I'm talking about. That one I like a little bit more. That was the other reason I almost bought the Alpinist too. I'm really for some reason jonesing for another Seiko. I don't know why I really want another Seiko, but I do. I've been looking at I've been like shopping on eBay and Watch Exchange for like old school Seiko Chronos, like 6138, 6139s. Um, and I think that's probably where I'm gonna head next. Like the Presage series from Seiko is cool, but they're too dressy. I would never have the occasion to wear a watch that dressy, and if I do have that occasion, I usually have watches that can kind of fill that role a little bit. Um, I Heart Sushi says instantly jump on a white Alpinist with the retro red and brown Arabics. I think a lot of people would, honestly, if they ever reissued that white dial version. I think a lot of people would be all about that. Again, white dials aren't really my thing personally, but I think that would do very well for them if they were to go that route. Blizzard says, I appreciate that your review watches that I can actually purchase. Well, guess what, Blizzard? Those are the watches that I can actually purchase. So I'm sort of limited to that right now. Um, while I build up the collection, because if you guys are newer to the channel, you might not know I've only been doing this for, and when I say doing this, I mean collecting watches for a little over a year, and I am not, super wealthy. I'm not wealthy at all, actually. I shouldn't even say that. So like I said, the watches that I review are the watches that I can afford. And I just also have an affinity for micro brands. I really do feel like that I came in at at a really optimal time, because the micro brand trend is kind of in full swing. A lot of the, you know, not as good micro brand companies have kind of gotten pushed up, and there's a really big contingent of micro brand watch companies that I think are really doing cool stuff right now and really making um, a lot of quality pieces. And so that was super fortunate that I happened to, just start collecting when I did, because there's a ton of different brands out there to check out. And like I said, established brands are great as well. And there's certainly a lot of watches that, are affordable in that space as well. But I just find what micro brands are doing tremendously more interesting, and typically give you a little bit more, to be cliched, bang for your buck than regular watches do. Um, not in resale value though. That's the only thing that I am finding out with and it's not a problem with micro brands. It just is what it is. But with micro brands, you do have to go into it knowing that the resale value is not going to be what you would get from potentially from a lot of other brands. And not to say that there aren't big brands too that don't take a huge hit in the pre-owned market just because of gray market dealers and stuff like that. But yes, that is the only thing that you kind of have to just realize with with most micro brands, you're going to take at least a 50% hit if you ever do decide to flip the watch to somebody else. In most cases, there's some that actually hold their value really well, though. I heard Sushi says, "Do you own any Dan Henry watches?" Yes, as a matter of fact, I do. I have the Dan Henry. I love Dan Henry. Their company does a lot of really cool stuff. The one that I have, and technically I don't have it because it's my wife's. but I have reviewed it on the channel before, is the 1939 military chronograph, the black dialed one with all of the different uh, meters and stuff like that on it, which is really cool. I've seen all of the 64 GTs in person and handled them. They are all excellent, and I thought about buying one. It's a little too small for me because I think they all come in at 38 millimeters, if I'm not mistaken. And for me, it just looked a little too diminutive for my tastes on my wrist when because I went to wind up in November and got a chance to check out all those. And yeah, it's because like I said, I like the Evil Panda version that they have. I think that looks really cool. That would be the one that I would get personally, if I were to look at the 64 GTs. Yeah, Dan Henry does a lot of good stuff, man. Like I said, the 1970 my wife has thought about buying. That's the compressor diver that they sell. The 72 was cool too. That's the quartz alarm chronograph that they sold initially at Windup as a limited edition, and I think it's just available through their site right now that you can just buy it regularly. That was a cool little thing. Again, it has an alarm on it, which is neat. A quartz chronograph, which I mean, like I said, I'd like to get a mechanical chronograph one day. I'm perfectly happy owning quartz chronographs right now because I'm not looking to spend that kind of cheese for a chronograph right this second. So yeah, the 64s are great. The 72 is great. And I would say that if you have the wrist where 38 is going to look awesome, it would definitely be something that that you should take a look at for sure. Um, and yeah, like you said, I Heart Sushi, they do micro brands do have a lot more freedom to experiment with designs and to try different things that big watch brands and established watch brands can't do just because they are producing in much smaller numbers and they don't have to worry about hitting a mass market. You have an 8-inch wrist, so yeah, yes, I do. Or sorry, I have an 8-inch wrist. Yes, I do have an 8-inch wrist. So yeah, that's the only thing. So I was at if you guys follow me on Instagram, I just posted a bunch of pictures last night because I actually went to my first Red Bar event down here in Annapolis, which is right outside of Baltimore, and really cool. I'm gonna do a video on it either this week or next week and show you guys like a lot of the watches that I saw because there was a ton of just ridiculous stuff at this event, and it was an amazing time. And getting to meet, a small contingent of the folks that are in the Red Bar group is incredible. Um, but I also found that it just a lot of the especially older vintage watches just don't they just kind of look puny on me, which is a bummer. Like that is the big downfall with having a larger wrist is that there are just some watches that like it's somewhat frustrating to me that like 42 millimeters is my optimal size. Now, you probably say, hey, in this market right now, that's probably a good thing because I think everyone's coming out with 42 millimeter watches at this point that are really awesome. Um, but yeah, so that's always the bummer for me is like a lot of the really cool stuff that's out there, especially companies as they're making smaller size watches, just doesn't look right for me. Mark says you like the 1939, you own the 1970. Yes, I love the orange 1970 as well. I think that's just a very very cool watch. Oh, you lived in Annapolis for a year. That's neat. That is very cool. Yeah, I'm actually obviously outside of Baltimore, so it was a little bit of a trek for me to get down to Annapolis, but it was a good time. Harry Brown's is where the event was last night. So if you're familiar with that area, right around the state house down there. So it was really cool. Like I said, they had it. They had like a side party room that was actually in a wine cellar. And again, I took a few pictures of that. Just a really neat space, really intimate setting, which was a lot of fun. But yeah, I like I said, Red Bar is awesome. Again, it's something I'm going to make a video about. But if you guys have a local chapter, I would definitely encourage you to reach out to them and definitely see if you can get in on that because, like I said, that was an amazing time. It was like the fourth time that they had invited me, and I just the other three times, for circumstances coming up, I couldn't go. Finally, had a chance to go to one, and I'm very glad that I did because, like I said, it was an amazing time. Um, yeah. So, mentioning review other than dive watches, yeah, I mean, I get why other channels review a ton of dive watches because dive watch is, I think, bar none, the most popular style of watch nowadays. So I totally get it. I have my fair share, obviously. I think between the two Chris Wards that I have an XKX, the Synchro, technically a dive watch. Plus, my wife has a huge affinity for divers. That's primarily what she collects, with her budding collection as well. Um, but I there's only the reason that I like to diversify is because there's only so much that you can say with divers, and it's it's a little, I don't know, I find myself getting a little bit bored of the dive watch market because they tend to kind of fall into three different camps. You either have, your sub style divers, your, blatantly vintage style divers, or like your speedy pro style divers that are like massive and very sporty looking, very modern sporty looking. And so it's cool when someone comes up with something that is way outside of that realm. And I think that I know I'm reviewing the Ocean Crawler Core Diver next week, and I think that's one that doesn't necessarily fit inside of any of those boxes per se. Like, it's definitely a very sporty modern dive watch, but it doesn't just look like a Speedmaster knockoff or Speedmaster. Oh my god, I just Seamaster knockoff. Wow, I can't believe I just blanked out there. Um, but yeah, so like that's why I diversify. I really like field watches. Again, there's a couple quartz chronos that I have or have checked out that I just find really interesting. Dress watch is probably something you won't see me do too much because, again, like I said, I don't own them because I don't wear them. But yeah, so, well, I'm not bored of dive watch jewelry. Like I said, I'm just kind of like, they're sort of just not really exciting me lately. Now that I got the NTH, that's kind of like, for me, that's like perfection. Between that and the C65, those are the two that really sit the best with me, personally. Oh, I never did a wristwatch check. I just realized. I'm wearing the SkyQuest right now. So this was actually cool too, because there was one of the gentlemen that I met last night was super excited that I brought it because he had actually just ordered one and was getting it today, but had never seen one in person. Like, he was taking a chance on it, and so he was pretty pleased to get one, and he was actually a little bummed out because he got it not on a bracelet because he's not really a big bracelet fan. And then once he used the bracelet that I have on mine, like, now he's like, oh my god, I gotta get this bracelet now. I gotta email the guy that I talked to see if, because the apparently the dude that he's buying it from had the full set of Monta watches. Like, he bought all three of them in November, and then just didn't care for the SkyQuest, so he's selling that one off, but he's keeping the Ocean King, or the Ocean Crawler, Ocean King. I can't remember what it's called, and a Triumph. Yes, Mark, this is a Monta as well. And I saw that you said that your next purchase is a Triumph. I am absolutely getting a Triumph at some point. I don't know when, but I've just been blown away by this. I've had this now for 2-3 weeks, and it's just been fantastic. This is one where the review is going to take a while because I have like 3 other watches in for review right this second that have to take priority because they're being loaned in. And the other reason is because I just really want to spend a lot of time with this watch before I review it, and so I can give a really thorough review on it. So yeah, but Monta makes amazing stuff, and like I said, I've been really blown away with the very, very small amount of experience that I've had with them so far. Let's see here. What do we got here? Have you had a chance to get your hands on a Laco? That's what I'm saving up for. Those guys were awesome, by the way. So I talked to them for a little bit at Wind Up, and they had a watch coming out. Now, this one's like it was like a special edition and kind of an acquired taste. But they're coming out with like a pilot's watch that a dude made to be like a Fallout themed watch. So if you're familiar with the Fallout video game series, it's like post-apocalypse, barren wasteland kind of thing. And he made a watch to kind of be of that era. And it was really cool. I did a very brief interview with him in my wind-up video a couple months ago, so if you wanted to seek that out, you could definitely check that out. Laka makes a lot of cool stuff, man. I think between, like, in that affordable Flieger style range, they're probably my favorite. The Stova is cool because they give you a little bit more ability to customize the watch, I guess, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. I think Stova stuff is pretty much made to order. The Alacos are cool. I've had my eye, half an eye, on a Type B Flieger from them for quite some time that I just never have bothered, never bothered purchasing. So it's yeah, that's something I might get one day when I just have the extra money lying around, or if I can find a used one that's in really good condition, I might pull the trigger on that. Love Laco. I think they make really cool stuff. Uh, Mike, hello. And on the Torsk Diver Kickstarter, Torsk Diver Kickstarter. I need to probably grab a drink real quick. Hang on a second. I was talking, flapping my gums for like 25 minutes without water. Yeah, so the Torsk Diver Kickstarter, yes, you should be very excited about that. Like I said, I love my Sal Baltimore Founders Edition. I've gotten to handle the prototypes for the Torsk Diver. Alan really cares about the quality that he's putting out, and like I said, tons of options on there. My wife actually backed the Kickstarter because she wants one, and I didn't see the need to get it because if she has it, I have it. So I wasn't too worried about that. I think I kind of wanted her to get the bronze, but she's opting for the steel. I think she's getting the orange dial steel version with I don't think she's decided on the bezel yet. I don't think she knows if she wants the sapphire bezel or the steel bezel. Both of them look really good. Both are great options. I think the black sapphire bezel looks great on that watch, and obviously the steel one I think complements it really well also. So yeah, that should be a pretty good watch that he ended up with there. Yeah, Damasco. I don't know much about Damasco. I did watch that Warning One video that they put out where they kind of go through the Damasco factory with their process on how they make watches that I would encourage you guys to check out if you haven't seen it. It's like an 8-minute video, but it's pretty cool, and it made me interested in the brand for sure. Yeah, they have a very Zen-like look, but are a little bit more. I mean, I guess that's more of a German aesthetic, but they are a little bit more affordable than Zins are. Not by much, but they're but they're a little bit more affordable for sure. So yeah, but Damasco, that Warner Around video put them on my radar for sure. Brady, hello, man. What's going on? What's that box in the NTH4 in the back? That is for the Neckin Renegade, which I can hold closer so you guys can get a better look at that. I did just review this watch a couple weeks ago, so if you did not get a chance to see that, definitely check that out. I absolutely adore this watch. If you are into Tudor Submariners, check out NTH because the Neckin line is probably right up your alley for sure. That's another thing I got to see also at Red Bar last night was a surprising number of Tudor subs, which are all amazing. and there's a question. Do you guys think that Tudor's coming out with a new subline this year? Because that's the scuttlebutt right now at Basel is that they're gonna bring back the Submariner line, which would be pretty tempting. If they did that, I honestly don't know if I would get that or Black Bay. So we'll have to see if it happens, and if it happens, we'll have to see what they look like. Blizzard says, I don't recall if you've ever reviewed any Eco watches, Citizen or Seiko. I've come close. I have not reviewed any yet. I have so that Seiko solar powered chronograph, the blue one that everyone was getting for a couple weeks. Thought about it, didn't end up pulling the trigger on that. I've also looked into I've looked into a couple Citizen watches. I wouldn't mind checking out any of the Eco Drive watches they put out. Citizen puts out cool stuff. It just hasn't been anything that I've seen that's really piqued my interest enough. I almost got a Nighthawk a couple of times because you can generally get those for really good prices. And then I realized that I would never wear it because it's a little too bulky for what I would typically wear. I've also thought about picking up a Flightmaster, but again, I just don't know how often I would actually wear that watch if I ever got one. and plus, and it goes for more than I would, again, more than I care to pay for one. Like if I could get a Flightmaster for like 150 that was in good condition, I'd probably do it. But everyone that I see for that price usually has some major flaw or some issue going on. Whether it's like a scratched crystal or like a beat up case and stuff like that. Let's see. Yeah, the Fault Watch was awesome. Did I go to Watch Event or something? Yeah, Mike, I did just go to a Red Bar event last night, as a matter of fact, for the first time, which was awesome. It's going to be something that I put a video out for later on. What's up, Kalen? Thanks for coming in. But yeah, like I said, a fantastic event. If you follow me on Instagram, you can see some pictures that I took of some of the watches. Oh man, I got to tell you the biggest one that I saw. So I couldn't give a crap about Grand Seiko. Like I couldn't care less about that line. I've never seen anything of theirs that ever interested me until they came out with that Grand Seiko 20th anniversary watch that has like that really intricate guilloche dial pattern on it with like the G and the S kind of interdispersed throughout. And also too, like that was the first time last night that I got to ever see a Grand Seiko in the metal before. And I got to tell you, the finishing on those is impeccable. Like it does not come through in renders or in videos or anything like that. Um, it was really impressive. Not and again, that's not just the 20th anniversary, which has that ridiculous dial, but just like the finishing on the hands, the case finishing was just exquisite, and it really opened my eyes up to Grand Seiko as an option. Um, yeah, it's one of those brands that just kind of has to be experienced to really gain the appreciation, because again I didn't think much of Grand Seiko ever until, like I said, until first I saw that one dial, and then getting to see it in person again was really impressive. And if you've never checked out a Grand Seiko, I would encourage you, if you have an AD near you, to do that, because again that's really blew me away. Like I couldn't be more impressed by what I saw with that. Tal, what's up from Vegas, man? Been to Vegas a couple times. Always on work, never for fun. But yeah, I have checked it out. And when I say I've been to Vegas and checked it out, I have exclusively been to just the Vegas Strip, and that's it. So, thoughts on the Man Hudson? I've never seen that, but I will look for it real quick so that I can give you a very, very quick snapshot impression of it. Do, do, do. Pretty cool. It's so obviously like it's kind of, that sub style, but it has enough like just, and this is again first glance in pictures, impressions of it, has enough to kind of make it stand out and do its own thing. I love the different flourishes of red that are on there. I think it's ah date windows. I'm gonna do a hot take video at some point, and I have something to say about 3 o'clock date windows. I'm so tired of them. I don't I'm so sick of them and them uh, ruining the symmetry of watch dials. Though they're practical, I just for some reason they're really starting to grind my gears a little bit. But yeah, the Hudson's cool. I really like especially the little blip of red where the loom is on the hour hand for sure. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I need to see. I'm scrolling down because I need to see. Oh, pretty cool finishing there on the rotor as well. 450, pretty good. What is the movement inside of this? It says it has a Swiss automatic movement, but I don't think the article that I'm reading mentions the what movement it. Oh, it's a 2024. Okay, cool. Man, that's actually pretty good. So it's an Elabor 20 or elaborate whatever you call it. 2024, and it is, like I said, it's 450. It's not bad. That's not bad at all. Pretty cool. Oh, they are releasing a no date? Good, because that's the one that I would get if I if I were getting either of them, that would be, or if I were getting choosing between the two, I would absolutely get the no date version. Yeah, that's a pretty solid deal, I'd say then. If just again from a snapshot look with that movement tuned, adjusted a little bit. If you trust me with that, then yeah, I would love to review it if you get it in at some point. I don't want you to send it to me right away. Enjoy it for a while. But yeah, if you want to send it in for review, I would be more than happy to check it out for sure. So and thank you for trusting me with that. But yeah, that'd be really cool. Very very nifty. Yeah, I've never even heard of them before. Um, have they? Let me. I'm curious to see if they put out anything else now. Do, do, do. Okay, so they've been around for a little bit. They have a couple different watch models that I can see, or do they? Yeah, they do have a couple different watch models on their site that they have. Just two, the Brooklyn and or three actually. Rather, I'm sorry. I'm assuming they're New York based, based on the names of the different watches for sure. Where's the Red Bar event? It was in Annapolis at Harry Brown's. It was a very, like I said, a very cool setting, very intimate setting. Um, 4 o'clock dates are even worse than 3 o'clock dates. Yes, I wholeheartedly agree. That was one of the big reasons too. If you guys saw the unboxing I did for the Bulova Lunar Pilot, the other reason I didn't mention in the video that I wanted the black version compared to, or instead of the steel version, was because the steel version has a 4 o'clock date window and the black version has no date window. And like I said, you give me a choice between date window or no date window, I'm probably picking no date window 9.5 times out of 10 with very small exceptions. I mean, obviously, like on something like this, which is a GMT, yeah, you should have date window. If it's just a diver, just give me a three-hander. Please. Please just give me a three-hander. And again, if you're gonna do a date window, so many watches would look better with a 6 o'clock date window. I have no idea why more companies don't use six windows because in most cases, all of the text and all of the stuff outside of the markers is coming down the center of the dial. So if you want to, if you have something to balance it out at 9, sure, put the date window at 3 and do it that way. But for the most part, I would imagine most watches just every time I see a watch with a 6 o'clock date window and I see a similar watch with a 3, I'm always preferring the 6 o'clock one. Like I said, I'm getting ranty. And like I said, that'll probably be another video sometime down the road. But it's yeah, I can't stand 3 o'clock dates anymore, and I don't know why. Or I mean, I do know why. I don't like them. They break up the watch too much in most cases. Um, and like I said, setting the dates is not. I mean, quick set date it makes that a not an issue. That's not why I don't like it. Just because again, I just find them to break it up. I can't live without a date window. Probably my most used complication. Honestly, I think it's probably most folks' most used complication. I would imagine. Um, and look, I'm not even going to act like that when I wear my watches that don't have it, that I will just instinctively look at my watch to check the date and then kind of be befuddled when it's not there. Um, so I get it, but again, if you're gonna put a date, just put it 6 o'clock. That's all I'm asking. And I think part of that too is because the first watch or the first mechanic watch I ever bought had a 6 o'clock date. So, and then when I started getting 3 o'clock dates, and actually too, I have the like the Hamilton. Where the heck is it? There it is. Here's a day date that I don't mind too much is the like I said, if you're gonna the split complication down the center, I just think that makes the watch look that much cooler in my opinion. Any other questions, guys? Because like I said, I wanted to go to 6:45, and amazingly, we're almost at 6:45. So, so yeah, if you guys have anything else that you wanted to ask, go ahead and shout at me real quick. You want a Tudor Black Bay 58? I would absolutely take a Tudor Black Bay 58 when they come out with the other colors. Most folks say that they are most I shouldn't say most folks think that they're gonna expand that line because it has been so popular. If they did what color would I probably want the most? I used to think it was red, and now I'm not sure because I really like the blue. Um, if they did another color that was really attractive, choosing between that and a Black Bay 40, like a Black Bay 41 might be tough. Might be tough because I think 39 is like right there, and plus the fact that it has the thinner case as well. That would be difficult. That'd be difficult. I would have to really think about that one for a little bit before making that decision for sure. So, guys, that is going to be it, I think, because like I said, I have to prepare for the podcast that I'm recording tonight. So again, this is the first time we got a chance to do this. Quite a bit of you stopped by, which I really appreciate. Um, they and like I said, the most nervous thing about this is when you get ready to do it. It is a little nerve wracking because you never know who's going to show up, and the fact that a bunch of you guys did makes me pretty happy. So thank you guys, everyone that was that watched this, everyone that was in the chat. Again, I really appreciate you guys coming by. Blizzard, yeah, I'm going to be doing more of these in the future. We'll figure out a regular cadence for this. Off the top of my head, I'm thinking, I mean, at a minimum, I want to do one a month. Maybe we'll do one every other week, but we'll see how that goes. And obviously, like if something crazy happens in the watch world, I'd rather do this setting than actually record a whole video just because I kind of like the back and forth with you guys, especially when we're talking about like newsy kind of stuff. Cause take Armand channel for example, very comprehensive, very knowledgeable, but I don't like being talked at with news for 30 minutes. I'd much rather have a dialogue and a back and forth with you guys about newsy stuff. So like I said, we will definitely be doing this again. Hopefully soon. And you guys will know that next time I'll give you guys more than an hour's notice to to before we do it. But like I said, I was sitting here and I was like, man, Blue Alpinist, people probably want to talk about that. Let's just do one tonight and see what happens. And it worked out pretty well. Mike, yes. Philip, where are you at in Baltimore, Mike? I'm curious. And I will definitely check out your channel as well. Robert's back. Black Bay 41 Red. Yeah, man. Like I said, if I like right now, if I were going to buy a Black Bay, that'd probably be the one that I would buy. But now I feel like I want to wait between the rumors of the Tudor sub and or other Black Bay 39 colors coming out. Essex, Mike, we are like 15 minutes away from each other, my guy. I live in Highlandtown, so that is we are pretty close actually. That's pretty cool, man. So, but yeah, so very cool. Yeah, like I said, it was a blast with you guys tonight. Thank you again for coming in, checking out the live stream. I hope to see you guys all back next time we do one, along with some more folks. But yeah, thanks for watching. See you guys the next time.